There are two classes in society, not three, not five, not divided by how much you make or how much you own, but by your relationship to society. The working class has no ownership over the means of production, but they do have time, energy, and labor, so they sell this labor for money in order to live. The capitalist class owns the means of production, the factories, textiles, farms, housing, construction, and so on, so they don't need to work, because they can simply give the means of production to laborers, pay them for their time, and keep the excess. There is no middle class. Your monetary status, the size of your house, it doesn't matter. If you survive on money worked for with labor and not ownership of property, you are working class. We have more in common with the homeless or the Palestinians or the queer than we do with the rich in our own country. Martha works at a factory producing shoes. Each pair of shoes costs $100 to sell, and she makes minimum wage at $20 an hour. The capitalist gives her the machines, the material, the fabric, all of which he didn't make, and Martha makes 5 pairs of shoes an hour working 10-hour shift. Martha has used the means of production to create 50 pairs of shoes in her 10 hours. Her 10-hour shift pays her $200, and yet 50 pairs of $100 shoes is $5,000. So where's the rest of this money going? Well, of course, you might say there's costs for materials, renting the warehouse, some goes to paying shipping fees and warehouse workers and human resources, but the remaining of that $4,800 mostly goes right back to the capitalist. The capitalist class do not create the shoes, the factory building, the sewing machines, the fabrics, or weave the fiber. The capitalist class doesn't even manage Martha or write the checks. They hire someone else to do both of those things. Yet, despite giving nothing to society, they are given the money that Martha created, and instead of calling this theft, they call it profit. When they aren't stealing from Martha for a profit, they create more profit by driving up prices for products for us or spending less on safety equipment. Martha makes 10 shoes an hour, but when she needs to buy a new pair of shoes for her kids, it takes 5 hours of her paycheck to just afford it. Martha has her $200 where she probably doesn't even spend it all on herself. A day's groceries might take up $20. A day's rent and transport to work might eat up more of it, and God forbid she have a medical expense like the $80 I have to spend monthly on medication. Much worse if you have insulin in America. At the end of this, Martha might have $20 a day left over to spend on herself, and then that gets taxed even more by the government. People say they hate socialism because their taxes will go up, but no, that's capitalism. Taxes go up for us workers because the rich don't pay their fair share. This is the capitalist system. Exploitation, and our surplus value being stolen from us and called profit. But, under the socialist system, the capitalist class is evicted. Martha creates $5,000 of value at her job, and perhaps half of it goes to the workers' state, who pays the supply cost, the warehouse guys, the HR team, and so on. That's her tax, so there's no more taxes, and under socialism all her needs are met. The share of Martha's wealth that went to society pays for everybody's medicine, everybody's housing, everybody's food, social infrastructure projects like public transport, rehabilitation, literacy programs, and more. Under this system, Martha is no longer left with a pitiful wage where a single medical emergency might ruin her, and all that's left of her spending money is taken in taxes. Under this system, Martha ends up with $2,500, and all the needs that soaked up her cash before are settled. Martha is paid more and spends less on housing, medicine, food, and education for her children. Under this system, what happens to the parasitic capitalist class? Well, they get a job like Martha. They enjoy all the benefits of a socialized government, living on socialist wages, better than they ever paid Martha, which is still better than they deserve. Under socialism in Russia, caloric intake rose above America. Unemployment went to zero, everybody was housed, pensions were guaranteed, and life expectancy went up far higher than the capitalist monarchist system they were previously under. In Cuba, life expectancy rose above America, and medical outcomes were improved. Meanwhile, in the capitalist world, the wealth slowly accumulates through profit into the rich's hands, as we spend more on any product than we are paid to create it. Pensions and retirement are becoming further impossible. Literacy rates in the US are dropping. Starvation increases and the housing crisis gets worse as homes in my city raise into the millions of dollars, while hundreds of thousands sleep on the streets. If you're always expected to pay more for a product than it costs to create it, than the person who created is paid, which is the same social class as you are always going to lose money in the long term. This system isn't viable. When automation comes to socialism, you get paid to do less as a robot does your job for you. When automation comes to capitalism, you don't get paid at all, while a robot does your job instead of you. When shown the basics of how our surplus value is stolen, the comparisons to socialist countries, only one answer is clear. The workers of the world must unite, we have nothing to lose but our chains, and an entire world to win.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
My daddy was a miner and I'm a miner's son, and I'll stick with the Union till every battle's won.
Which side are you